We're here at Lekkerlingen, a high school in the Netherlands. Let's go in. So in Holland, after high school, you go to university. Sports and school are separated in the Netherlands. However, in America, this works differently. In the Netherlands, sports and school are fully separated, which means that students who want to play sports as well as going to school spend a lot of free time playing sports. This causes a lack of time for their homework, which again affects their performances in school. This is a serious issue because most schools are not being understanding with students who play sports. Teachers punish students who do not finish their homework, and that causes an even bigger lack of time. Many young scholars stop playing sports because they feel like it is not manageable to play sports outside of school. This is also a problem because it's not healthy to stop playing sports. It might cause diabetes or other sicknesses. When students do not stop playing sports, they are more likely to be healthy and not be ill all the time. There's a difference in the USA. Schools and sports are combined. For example, a lot of high schools have their own sporting program. The amount of high school athletics has increased by 800% over the last 30 years. Sports also play an important role in the everyday social scene at American colleges and universities. The students will learn how to behave around people and get social skills. They will also make friends because their teammates will be students at school. With this system, students can keep participating with their loved sport and their marks will not be influenced largely.
Another positive aspect of this system is that children will participate in a sport faster than they would do if this possibility was not available. In school, you learn about values such as justice, fair play and teamwork. This type of bonding and learning to accept each other is important, and school concentrates on teaching these things. It is convenient to teach this while playing sports. In the Netherlands, sporting organizations do this as well, but they do not think that this is a priority. In America, the students go to learn this in a nicer and more convenient way.
I do think playing sports is very good to relax.
Yes.
So in that way, I think it's good for you. And yeah, about the difference in between the American and the Dutch system. In the American system, you go to a school that belongs to your own school area. It's divided by school bus areas or zip codes. And here you can choose for your school, so you can choose to go to KWC or to our school, to Lekkerlingen, or even to Utrecht, or if you want to. So that's completely different. I think it's good for students to be in another social group as well.
Yes.
Like you guys, you are bilingual VWO, and in your with inline skating, you see students from KWC maybe, and you see students from school in Tiel, and so there's a totally different setting. And I think that's good as well.
I have a friend who studies in America. His name is Lars. Lars went to the Marist College in New York. The university has 6,474 students. He studied his VWO at KWC. It's also in Culemborg. He plays tennis at a very high level. In the Netherlands, he got to the semi-finals of the national championships under 18. His dream was to get a scholarship in America and get almost everything financed. His dream came true, and his study in America gets for a huge part financed. He gave me a lot of information about how he got selected to go there and about how the American sports system actually works. He first called a recruiting company. The recruiting company is called Sam Stocks. Sam Stocks helps teenagers all over the world to get a scholarship in the USA. You need to answer a question: what is your dream? He was asked to make a short video of himself. He needed to introduce himself and show some of his tennis skills. The next stage was that the tennis expert could come and evaluate Lars. Lars needed to show his tennis skills in real life.
The Dutch and the American sports system are in many ways different, so also financially. The Dutch system works with a separate system for sports and school. America works with a different kind of system. Over there, school and sports are combined. In the following parts, I will explain this. In America, sports is a big deal. Immigrants who have moved to America see this as well. Schools in America have huge sports fields and are and all sorts of sports which can be played. But for example, in South Korea, they bring their own sports gear in the breaks and play badminton with an imaginary net. This is also shown with some facts. South Korea ranks 4th on the international math test, but America ranks 31st on the same international math test. This shows already how important sports is in the USA. Another fact which cooperates with the fact which is already shown is the amount of money which is spent. The school, for example, the school Fremont spends around $1,300 per football player and around $618 per math student. In fact, you can spend twice as much on a math student to get the same amount for a sports student. This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous amount which is paid by the American school.
When you visit a game in the United States, and you might have heard before, there's 50,000 people for a university game, or 100,000.
It's like,
you know, it's
too much.
For us, you know, but it says something about our culture and their culture.
A profile gets made for you with your qualities. He got accepted and now he was able to meet his new tennis team in New York. The Marist College is a very big college. The college has facilities from arenas, boathouses, parks and fields for various sports. Sports that are played at the Marist College are baseball, basketball, cross country, football, tennis and many more sports. The atmosphere at the playing ground is very good. Everyone loves playing sport at these colleges. The relationships between the students are very good, while everyone is interested in sports. You will have interaction with all the different teams because you see them while studying, eating and practicing. It's proven that by team feeling, the relationships will be good. Sport is the only way to make different races, cultures and people work together. The American sports school system works very well. If you have low grades, you are not able to play. Students get motivated to do well at school so they could practice their favorite sport. The schedule between learning and playing sports works very well. A whole planning is made for you and your team to get time to study, practice and have fun. Lars gets almost everything financed. This is great, otherwise the study is way too expensive. The system in America works way better than the system in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think the top players, top athletes, when you have a status from NOC, you can join a school like that. I also think that schools, and I think our school is one as well, that tries to be flexible.
Yes.
When students have a tournament or when they need to practice, you know, for big game.
Yeah.
So I think lower the norm in sports is never a good idea. I think we should raise the norm. I think the Dutch students, when you compare them with American students and sports mentality,
Yeah.
I think the American students have more of a winner
Yes, indeed.
mentality because it's more part of their culture.
Starting in about 6th grade or so, schools form teams to compete amongst each other in various sports competitions. The type of sports are American football, volleyball, wrestling, hockey, and some places golf and many more sports. Participation in schools are required to provide equal opportunity in sports to both sexes. They usually don't compete against each other. What's more, many school districts have academic success. College athletics, for example basketball and football in particular, is a multi-million dollar business in the United States, with star players going on professional sports careers. Some claim that sports are beneficial to the development of young people, just as much as reading and writing. Certainly some physical activity is. However, it is sometimes claimed that the emphasis on sports in American schools cultivates a highly anti-intellectual culture. One where the top performing students, those who aren't athletics, are regarded as nerds and outcasts. not as persons who are admired. Statistics show that an average of 51% of high school females participate in sports and physical education classes in grade 9 to 12. An average of 26.4% played on one or more sports teams and attended PE classes daily. According to tests of the NFHS, the total amount of students participating in sports has increased by 97% over the last 45 years. The amount of boys has increased by 23% and the amount of girls has increased by 1018%.
I've been at American schools and I've seen the facilities they have there, and I'm really happy with the facilities we have here. But there is much better.
Yeah.
So if you would ask me, where would you prefer to work?
Yeah, both work and also
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. I would really like their facilities. I do really like it that here in the Netherlands there's a chance for everyone to play sports.
Yeah.
So when you're not an A or A student, you can still play sports, and you can choose, right? It's your personal choice to choose Hapkido, to do Hapkido.
Yeah.
And if the school doesn't offer Hapkido,
Indeed.
you cannot do it.
Nope.
So that's what I like. I like the social aspect of the Dutch system. I do like the American sports mentality also. So you're a winner,
Yeah.
and second place doesn't count. I like that as well. It's really competitive. If I would have to choose, I would choose the best of both worlds. I think so. The competitiveness of the American system,
Yeah.
and the social aspect of the Dutch system.
A question that raises the example which is given is, how can schools afford all of this? The answer to the question can be given. The max schools typically have athletic budget shortfalls of around $20 million. This needs to be compromised with general funds like tuition, state funding, or through activity fees charged to students. This means that the lack of money from the schools is funded by school students. Also, something which isn't the case in the Netherlands is that schools are also earn television revenue. This all in all shows how much sports means for the USA. But is this way different than the Netherlands, or is it kind of the same? In the Netherlands, school and sports are separated. You have to pay for school, and after school you go to your sports club. And for example, you have to pay for this as well. If the family can't pay this, there is a financial fund which is called Stichting Leergeld. This fund makes it possible that, for example, your child can go to a sports club or can go on trips with school. This is how the parents finance a sport club. But you also have the big money. Where does this come from? The finance of sport clubs is mostly financed by Sportend Nederland. Other sorts of finance are the sponsors that clubs have, like businesses as Unilever or ING. Also locally, the municipality pays around 1.2 billion for sports every year. The biggest difference between the two systems is financially is that in America combines school and sports. And so the parents have to pay for both a lot of money. In the Netherlands they are separated, and if the parents can't afford it to pay sport for their children, they will be funded by Stichting Leergeld. This makes it possible that this means that the Netherlands put school on the first place and put sport on the second place. And in America this is the other way around.
I think I would, and it's not really the system, but what I sometimes miss in Dutch students is how competitive the American students are.
Yeah, that's.
So they really want to be in the team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go for it.
To conclude, we think the American school system works better. The atmosphere is always good between the students because they all play sports, so it's team building. And also, when their team performs well, the school makes money, which they can invest in the school again. Also, students get stimulated to work well, so they get high marks. Without high marks, they can't play sports. So we think it's very important.